What's up, guys? Michael Corsentino for BehindTheShutter.com and Shutter Magazine with this month's lighting tutorial. So this month I'm going to take you behind the scenes for a portrait shoot that I was asked to do. This was unlike a lot of my shoots where I have a large team involved and there's an art director and it's for a client with a specific purpose. So this had a purpose, but it wasn't the commercial purpose that it usually is. And I didn't have, someone, a wardrobe stylist and makeup stylist and assistants and all the usual people that make up a commercial team. This was a shoot for a colleague and a friend. Her name is Angela, and you're looking at her now. And what Angela wanted to do was create something special for her husband that paid tribute to the vest that you see her wearing, which is her husband was a biker. And I forget the exact circumstances why, but he had to part with his bike, which was very special to him. He's also a Vietnam vet. And so she wanted to produce something special for him for his birthday that was badass in her words, and that also, again, highlighted the vest in some cool and edgy way. And cool and edgy is kind of my wheelhouse for those of you that are familiar with my work. But typically I have kind of constraints or a very defined kind of mission of what is expected. So it's kind of fun when someone lets you just kind of do your own thing and gives you free reign, which is what this was about. So the first thing that I had to do, since there was no specified location, was come up with a location for this shoot. And again, the mission was, the brief was edgy and cool. So I kind of got thinking about that. What would be the best location for this, for the, style that she wanted to portray in this portrait. So in my town, there's a welding shop, and on a lark, I called and asked if we could shoot there, and fully expecting him to turn us down flat and, say absolutely not for insurance reasons, etc., and just, an inconvenience to the business and the flow of the business. But amazingly, he said yes. So that is one of those, and I had done some business with him before. He had done some building for me for the studio. So I'm sure that greased the wheels. But in any event, he said yes. And it was one of those moments where I had to remind myself that it really always is a good thing to ask, because the worst thing is someone can say no, and at best they say yes, which is what happened here. And you can see him, the owner of the shop, welding in the background on the right. Which was another one of those bonus moments where I couldn't believe I got him welding in the background. That was a real addition to the final image. And it really made the image for me something really special. So I dragged the shutter and balanced the light and stuff. Again, we're dealing with ambient and flash here, and I'll cover all the gear. But that was a real bonus moment. So I was very excited when I saw him welding and the sparks flying and everything. Very cool. Okay, so let's take a look at the equipment that I used, and then we'll look at the lighting diagram, and I'll tell you how I kind of built the lighting. And we'll look at some alternates. Okay, so first off, I used some very lightweight Elinchrom ELB 500 TTL lights. I didn't use the TTL for this. I shot in manual, which I most of the time do. So I used 2 heads and 2 packs. And each of these has 2 ports, so you could arguably have done this with one, but depending on where the lights are positioned and the length of the cables and all of that. So I just find it easier. I have 2 of these, so it's easier just to use 2. I used a lightweight light stand. That's a Manfrotto 5001B light stand. It's compact and folds up, as you can see it there. I used that for the accent light, for the hair light. I used a Rotolux 27.5 Elinchrom Deep Octa. That is kind of my go-to location lighting modifier, and that was for the key light. And then to hold that, I had one of Angela's friends serving as an assistant, holding that using a Shoreline paint pole with a Casey paint pole adapter. Again, this is kind of my go-to rig for location stuff. So if you follow me and you follow this channel, you've probably seen this setup before. And it works brilliantly, and I use it whenever I can. Keeps it nice and lightweight and light on my feet, and easy and uncomplicated. Okay, so that is the gear, and there are a few other things which we'll talk about later. One specifically for modifying the light. All right, so let's take a look at the lighting diagram. Okay, so basically, you on the lighting diagram, you'll see on the camera left, you'll see the Chrome Octabank, 27.5 Octabank, and that was fully diffused, and that is providing the key light. And then the accent light is camera right, and for that, I just had a little reflector, and then you can see the camera position and the subject position. Uh, so when you're dialing in the accent light, which you can see it's providing that light, that kicker light from the camera right side of the exposure, um, oftentimes the light will be really, really bright and you'll need to knock it down. So even knocked down, powered all the way down, I was still getting way too much light. So I had to modify it. Now you could pop a diffuser in front of it. You absolutely could, but then you've got to have someone hold it, or there's got to be some mechanism to hold that diffuser. So what I like to do is I use a little something called Tough Spun, and I have that later on here in my presentation. So let me skip through to that real quick. That's what Tough Spun looks like, okay? And it comes in various strengths, for lack of a better term. So I just tape that on the front of the reflector, and that will knock down the light. It will diffuse it a little bit, or actually quite a bit. It probably knocked it down about a stop, what I use. This is just a shot off the internet, so I'm not sure whether I was using quarter or tough spun or full tough spun or whatever tough spun I was using, but you can always double it up if it's not enough. It was enough with one layer of it to really knock the light down enough to give me what I needed. Okay, which is, this was the look that I wanted. Initially, it was very bright. I have a shot of that, but I didn't include it because it's just, I can just tell you, it was very, very bright, and it was, just it was like hitting someone over the head. And I prefer accent lights to be subtle in most cases. It doesn't always apply, but in most cases, I like subtle is better than, just like gobs of light. Okay, so I also want to show you, so again, a really simple lighting setup here. This is a traditional cross light setup where you've got the accent light opposing the key light, and it creates a really nice kind of sculptural look to the lighting, and I really like it. So I really want to drive that point home because I want to show you what it looks like without that and then with it. So I do have a before and after kicker light shot to show you. Okay, so on our left, you can see what it looks like without the kicker light. And obviously the shot on the right is the final, and it has the final color grade and everything else. But you can see the difference with and without the accent light, without the kicker light. Okay, so once you add in that kicker light, man, you really, you get a much more sophisticated, a much more polished looking, and I would argue dimensional, sculptural kind of look to the lighting. Okay, it really helps to highlight all the facets of the face and the figure and all of that. And I want to show you also some of the other alternative images. These are some of the other finals that I got from this set. So I got like 4 good finals out of I don't know, we were there probably for about an hour, so not bad. I still, my preference really is the first shot, that final. For me, that is the money shot. The guy welding in the background, the whole thing, just the balance and the exposure and, just the lighting, everything's just on point for my money. All right, so I also should remind you guys that this is a companion video to the print and online version of Shutter Magazine at behindtheshutter.com. So if you're not a subscriber, I encourage you to do so. There's tons of great information every month at behindtheshutter.com and Shutter Magazine. And on that note, I will see you next month here at behindtheshutter.com and Shutter Magazine. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.